Hi, everybody. It's Thursday, May 6th, and I promised you that today I would show you some photographs from May 6th and 7th, 2019, when I was in South Africa. And on this day, a year ago, I went to Robbin Island, which was the prison island where Nelson Mandela spent many years, along with many of the other political opponents of apartheid. So we had a tour of that facility, I guess you might call it. And I want to show you a couple pictures. Everybody was put into a different section. And depending on where you were, in what section, you had special privileges or no privileges. I don't know why I picked such. This was Nelson Mandela's cell. And obviously you can't tell exactly how big or how small it is, but basically there was that little writing desk and a chair and then his mattress and a sink. And there was the mattress, I guess, and a little table. So folks didn't even necessarily have beds to sleep on. And then there's another picture of how a bedroll would look on one of the sleeping mats. I know there's a better way to show this to you, but I can't figure it out right now. Robbin Island has also been a cemetery for prisoners and for others who, for some reason, were not allowed to be married on the mainland. So there's a cemetery there. And I want to get to the place where I show you. This is Cape Town from Robbin Island. And you can see there the flat section in the middle is Table Mountain, which is the premier geographical feature of Cape Town. I want to show you a picture of this one gentleman. All of the guides at Robbin Island are ex-prisoners themselves. And so when they're telling you stories, here's the man, he's talking about what it was like. Is that working there? Maybe not so well. There we go. But when he's telling you about what it was like to be there as a prisoner on Robbin Island, the reason he's able to talk about it so well is because he was one as well. So we did that on May 6th. And then I believe it was later on in the afternoon, the next day, we went to visit one of the townships. And there are many townships around Cape Town. And township doesn't always mean a ghetto. Townships can have very, very poor parts of the township, middle class, even perhaps some upper class. So for instance, when you hear about Soweto Township, which stood for Southwest Township, it's not that all the parts of the township were ghetto, what we might call ghetto. And that's different from what you see in South African with shanty towns. Shanty towns are all poor and made out of sometimes old shipping containers, and even businesses like coffee shops and beauty parlors and whatnot are run out of old shipping containers. But in the townships, there can be, for instance, Desmond Tutu's family still owns a residence in Soweto, and people in South Africa are very proud of their football players, the soccer players. So we went by a couple houses that have sort of ceramic medallions on them that say this is the home of, so and so soccer player. But so here are some pictures. Like this is one of the townships. This is a very well appointed home with a with a garage and whatnot. Um, People like to color their houses in bright colors, and that came about in part when there was a time when you couldn't decide on your house or whatnot, but you could decide on the paint. And then here are some of these businesses that are built up in shipping containers. Um, but then I'll show you, this would be more like the shanty town look. Um, People don't have cars, they rely on public transportation. And as you can see, all the sheet metal there. And if you notice the telephone pole there, I think, no, it does have some wire, so there is some electricity. But I remember going out to, we were way out in Zulu country somewhere, and they had all the telephone poles, but no wire. Um, so there was no electricity in that area. And there again. So it was fascinating because there are folks who believe that the townships are going to be the future of South Africa and not necessarily the big city. Uh, but that makes a difference then, because you're not saying the shanty towns are going to be the future of South Africa. What you're saying is that the townships, where there are all classes of people living in the same village, that might be the center. Then we went to, I'm not going to take too long here, we went to the Kirstenbach uh, Botanical Gardens, which were beautiful. This was a quilt that was there. And Marion Burgett and quilters, I would love to see a quilt like this. Sometime it was absolutely gorgeous. And I'll show you two more flowers and then quit for the day. This is a peace flower, or excuse me, bird of paradise flower. And we're used to seeing the plumage being orange, but this yellow one was a hybrid created in honor of Nelson Mandela. So those were quite beautiful. And you can see I became enamored by them and have many, many pictures of yellow bird of paradise. And then there is a, oh, did I not? Yes. This is the national flower. And actually, Jerry Brand and Grace Brand and their daughter Allison can remember what it's called, but I can't. They were not in bloom in May, but you could still see a few of them. So those were terrifically gorgeous as well. So that's my little photo journey for today. Also, today I wanted to read you a poem that came over the internet yesterday. So I'm going to take a pause here for a second and see if I can find it.